show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's August 24th, 2021. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, another day, a lot of news to talk about. It's amazing how a football program can generate just so much to talk about and so much content and so much intrigue, but it's there. And we're, about 12 days away from kickoff against Alabama. That couldn't be more exciting. And so let's get right to it. Before we jump into the multitude of football issues and topics that we have to talk about today, let's start with the story that we bring out this morning on probably the biggest recruit locally in the 2021 recruiting cycle, and that's Shamar Stewart, the ultra-talented defensive end out of Miami Pace, being recruited by pretty much everybody in the country. It seems to be sort of narrowing itself down now to a few schools. We're hearing a lot about Ohio State, a lot of Texas A&M. Miami's still in there. But without a doubt, Miami's in the battle of their life to try to keep this kid home. And that's a recurring theme in this recruiting cycle. The commitments are not coming easy. And the scary thing is that we're looking potentially at a cycle here, Matt, where really possibly all of the top rated local prospects once again decide to leave town and go to school outside of the South Florida area. So it's a tense time in recruiting right now for Miami. It's very important that they put on a good showing at Atlanta against Alabama. And, Shamar Stewart in the story today is making there's a little bit of noise that he might actually drive 10 hours straight to get to Atlanta so that he could attend that game in person. That's how much he wants to get a look at what he sees there or what he can see there and the impact that might have on whether Miami stays in the race in his recruitment.
Yeah, and first of all, I'd encourage everyone to go to CaneSport.com and just look at the stories we had yesterday, because we were going from 5 a.m. prepping stories that we knew were coming later in the day and getting ready for interviews until really 9 p.m. I mean, there was double-digit stories up yesterday. This is what's going to be happening all fall. So, I mean, those of you that aren't like going to the website to check it out and just watching this, just go to the website and look at the depth and breadth of the stories from yesterday, because you'll be amazed. But yeah, in terms of Shamar, look, he has friends at Miami. I don't think he's going to see if Miami's going to win or not, or cheer on the home team. He's going to support his buddies. He's really good friends now with Jake Garcia, James Williams, a couple other Miami players, and for him, it's just as much about. It's like if you're friends with people on a team, just like if you're a fan, don't you want to go to those games? Like, a bunch of kids on the team, and they're playing their biggest game of the year by far, maybe the biggest game of the decade in terms of level of opponent, other than Clemson, I guess. So yeah, he's going up as a fan to watch his friends play. I don't think it's gonna, could it have an impact if Miami wins or plays competitively? Of course. And then there's still a question if he'll actually go, because he's got a game the night before. He's going with one of his assistants. If they're exhausted after that game, are they going to want to make a 10-hour drive, to Atlanta? I'm not sure. So, the person I spoke to, it was Shamar's head coach, who's not going with them, but he said, look, it's probably 50-50 if it actually happens. Shamar's a high school kid. Of course he's going to say, I'm going to the game. But when it actually time and it's 11 p.m. and he's like, oh my God, we got to drive 10 hours. Like, I don't know. It's not a recruiting event. It's not free tickets. It's not you're going to talk to the coaches and players in the locker room afterwards. They're not allowed to do that on neutral sites like this. We'll see.
All right, so no sense in trying to predict where he's going right now. I think it's totally wide open. If you ask me who the leader was, I would say maybe Ohio State, but Texas A&M is making a very strong push, and Miami's been in there all along. But it's hard right now to predict that Miami is going to emerge the winner in that race, just because of how serious he seems to be with these out-of-state schools. So we will.
Put on your glasses again, Gary. Put on those glasses. Put on those.
No, you want the glasses?
Don't put them on. Oh my God, you have.
You want them?
No, I don't want them.
You want me to put them on and say Shamar Stewart's coming to Miami?
No, put them back. Wait,
right.
I'm blind. I can't see out of my right eye now after that.
How about Miami's going to beat Alabama? How's that one work for you?
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
All right.
Yeah,
So anyway.
Good morning, CaneSport, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. So Matt mentioned everything that's been going on yesterday, today. There's all kinds of stories. So now before I get to the rest of them, I think now's a good time to throw up on the screen our special that we've got going for new subscribers. And we don't usually give you commercials on this show. We've been doing a lot of stuff for you guys that aren't subscribers so far in camp, a lot of content on our YouTube channel. If you're not subscribing to our YouTube channel yet, make sure you do. Just go on there, CaneSport TV, hit the subscribe button, and you'll be plugged into everything we're putting on YouTube. Hit the like button if you like what you see. But now is the time, if you're not a subscriber, in all seriousness, to become a subscriber. We've created this 80% off deal for you guys. It's 2021. You get a $20.21 first year of CaneSport.com. Once you come in and you spend that year with us, I think you're going to like the experience. You're going to like what you get every day. An awful lot of effort goes into it from our whole team. I think our team now, Matt's up to approaching 14, 15 people.
Listen, if you want to get subscribers, Gary, just tell them first, 100 subscribers. If you get 100 subscribers in the next week, you will throw the glasses away, and then you get 100 subscribers like that.
If somebody gets 100 subscribers, they can have a free subscription for life.
I'm honestly a little concerned that I didn't know you had your glasses next to you. Did you just keep those glasses with you all the time?
Oh yeah, they're here.
Wherever you go?
Already, man.
Yeah, that's weird. I assumed they weren't going to be within arm's reach.
You know my theory. My theory is at the start of every season, everybody should be a pumper. Okay, so I think I got to clip off this thing. I'm not really a big fan of this face guard, but this is the time of year to put your cane shades on, because this is a big season for the Hurricanes, seriously. And it's year 3 of Manny Diaz. They're trying to build momentum. They're trying to really focus in on becoming a good football team. And you know everything that's gone on here over the last multiple years. And still, Miami starts the year ranked 14th, 15th in the top 20. That, to me, is evidence. Even, I don't care whether you're a pumper, a doomer, whatever, but the fact that Miami could have gone through everything it's gone through, coming off a 6-7 season where they lost to FIU, Louisiana Tech, Duke, and then a year last year where they gave up 800 yards to North Carolina, lost the bowl game to Oklahoma State. There hasn't been a lot of positive for a sustained period of time here, yet they're starting this season ranked 14th in the country in the AP poll. Okay, this should be a top 10 program every year. And the fact that it could be number 14 coming through all those things is just evidence of that. And so, right now, this is a really critical time for Manny Diaz, a critical time for the program, and a great time for them to have as much support as they can get. And we're trying to do our part. We've ramped up our coverage. We're providing more coverage than we ever have in the 30-year history of CaneSport. We've built a huge team. Like I just said, we've got 14, 15 people. I'll end the commercial there. We want everybody in the Canes Nation to be subscribers to CaneSport, to be part of our community. We're going to keep doing our part. We're going to keep working to make the site better and keep working to make the product better, to give you guys the best team site in college football. And that quest will continue onward. All right, so you see the information at the bottom of the screen. Come on over CaneSport.com. Use the code Miami2021. Get your first year for $20.21. All right, back to the news of the day. So our series continues, 15 impactful players in 15 days. Today it continues with number 3, Lou Hadley. And Matt, the fact that, and we put a lot of thought into this as we rank these guys and stuff. The fact that we have the punter as the number 3 impactful guy on this team, I don't know if that's a positive or a negative, but I do know that Lou Hadley is going into this season as maybe even the best punter in the country, and he deserves that kind of status from us. Your thoughts?
I mean, the big problem for Lou Hadley, and I don't understand it. Somebody mentioned to me, I was with some friends over the weekend, And one of them said, they started talking about the NIL thing, and they're like, I don't understand why Lou Hadley, doesn't have any NIL deals we've been reading about, because it seems to me like tattoos by Lou for Lou Hadley, who's covered head to toe in tattoos, would be like a perfect fit. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. Like that would be a perfect fit. So, I think the only thing Lou Hadley doesn't have right now is the same NIL deal.
Well, I'll tell you the reason. Because I tried to do an NIL deal with Lou Hadley for CaneSport. He is here on a work visa from Australia, and he's not allowed to work. So he's not allowed to get an NIL deal. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy would have gotten. I mean, we would have done a deal with him, and he would have had a lot of deals probably just because of his personality, the tattoos. The whole thing, the whole story, the whole act, whatever you want to call it. But no, he's not allowed to work. So Lou Hadley is a spectator for NIL, and I think somebody
that's just not right.
That's not right. Somebody needs to revisit that one because he's a young guy. He's not a kid. He's a grown man, but he deserves to be able to make money if he can make money.
He's here on a work visa. Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's here.
You're supposed to be working.
Well, I guess they consider being a football player at Miami working. I don't know.
Did you only have to do a little bit of work on a work visa?
No. Maybe I'm sorry. I might be mistaken there. It might not be called. It might not be called
visa. Maybe it's something.
It's some kind of visa that prohibits him from making money.
Yeah.
Maybe it's called a student visa. I might be wrong. I'm calling it a work visa, but he's here on some kind of visa that prohibits him from making money. So we couldn't do an NIL deal with him. And I agree with you. I think that's something that needs to change. I don't know who's going to change it or who that was, if that falls under the U.S. government or, whoever has the jurisdiction over that. But yeah, that is absolutely not right. But regardless, we take a look at Lou Hadley today as the number 3 most impactful player in our 15 players in 15 days. All right. Another story that's a real hot button, Matt, that everyone seems to be debating and having a very strong opinions on. We've had threads on the message boards at CaneSport.com that have gotten totally out of control.
You don't have to say it now. Every fan knows already what you're talking about. You don't have to say what you're talking about.
And if you don't know, it's the Avante Williams story. And to sum it all up, he got charged with battery, had an issue with his pregnant girlfriend, and got arrested. And through the legal process, he has an attorney, and whatever they were able to work out over the last couple weeks, the charges were dropped. The state attorney's office is not going to prosecute Avante, and now he and his attorney are trying to get him reinstated to Miami. And of course, the fan and everybody's saying, "Yeah, Avante, number 1 safety 2 years ago, great football player. We got to get him back on the team." And that's a logical reaction, but I think it's more complicated than that. And of course, we would love to see Avante, the football player, on the Hurricane team as well. It's not as simple. This is now an institutional decision. This is not Manny Diaz sitting in his office saying, "All right, bring him back." This probably isn't even Blake James sitting in his office saying, "Bring him back." This is now an institutional decision. They're gathering a lot of information. They're looking at all the police reports, all the witness statements, and trying to come to their own determination on what happened here. And I think it's going to be a tough deal for them. I mean, you have a kid. He came to the University of Miami with two kids, which is a little unusual. I mean, some of them have kids, but he came with 2 kids, and in his first year at Miami, got pregnant with another a young lady. So now this is going to be his 3rd kid. He gets into this domestic issue just as training camp is opening, and they're trying to focus the team on getting ready to play Alabama. And then on top of it, the Brian Pata case reaches ahead. And don't think that that's not significant, because it became publicly revealed that a Miami football player committed murder against one of his teammates. And I know it was a long time ago, and it's not applicable to today's program and today's team. But if you don't think that that's being used in recruiting by other people and things like that, you're kidding yourself. Anyway, they'll use anything they can. And it was a national story that the University of Miami was involved in. And now this is another one. And I'm not sure that the administration of the university is going to rush to reinstate Avante Williams, and it's going to be really interesting to see what decision they make. But I would not assume anything in this situation, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, that Brian Paddock thing, I got a call that night about what happened, and I was obviously, I covered it for CaneSport all the way back then. I was at the crime scene. It was devastating. But back to the issue at hand, like, here's what I don't understand. Like, Avante says that she was lying and she withdrew, she won't press charges, whatever. But she says that's not what happened now, that I think she said that she was moving in and got all the bruises that way. But like, what I don't understand is when this happens, if she is lying, obviously that's not right, but don't you get charged with like filing a false police report or something? Regardless if Avante says, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, you can't just call the police. I'm not a lawyer, I'm a reporter. But you can't just call the police and say, this person did this to me. That person gets arrested, gets in all this trouble, and then nothing happens to that person when they say, I was lying, it didn't happen. Like, I don't understand. Like, if it really didn't happen, she should have some sort of repercussions. It almost makes me feel like something's being swept under the rug, which is what I think some people are speculating on our message boards. Like, oh, this is a battered woman, and she doesn't, she wants to make money in the future from Avante, and this will be the end of his life/career if this is true.
Well, they were living together. He's paying his rent based on money he's getting from UM. I mean, he has his living expenses paid for. These have to be factors. Like, where is she go now?
Because if Avante really didn't do anything, of course he should be back on the team. But UM should, like, when UM dismissed him, they should have known. They should have talked to somebody who knew what happened to the ex or to a witness or somebody, or the police officer who responded. Like, what did you see? What happened? They kicked him off the team. You can't do that if the kid didn't do anything and just assume he's guilty. Like, you can't do that. So I have to think that someone at UM found out that something had happened that was accurately and did happen. I can't imagine they would do it with no evidence. If they did, then they made a just gross negligence on Miami's part to have kicked him off with nothing that they looked into themselves. So, like, I don't know where it goes from here. It's a mess. It's just a mess to me. I mean, I told the lawyer yesterday, the lawyer was just like, it's a no-brainer, take him back. But like, I don't know.
He's doing his job. The lawyer's doing his job.
Of course he's doing his job. I don't know what you do. I really don't know what you do.
I don't either. I think this is a real tough one for University of Miami. I don't know where this is going. If I had to make a guess right now, it would be that Avante Williams would be allowed to just go to another school and get his life together and get everything straight. I would be surprised if Miami takes this one back, just because of all the different issues involved and everything. But we'll see what happens. Either way, we're pulling for Avante. He's had a tough life. He came to Miami in not the greatest shape, physically or emotionally. Had gone through a pretty tough patch in life. We won't go into all the gory details, but this is a kid that has not had it easy, and we're pulling for him, whether he's a Miami Hurricane or not in the future, to get his life together and get things going in the right direction. So, but anyway, we do have an update with his attorney this morning, and you can read that on the website at CaneSport.com. He also made an appearance on local TV last night, and we've got some information on that as well. So every update that we can give you on the Avante Williams situation, we're giving you, and the debate and conversation lives on the message boards at CaneSport.com. If you're a subscriber, I'm sure you've seen them or are participating in them. If you're not a subscriber, great time to become one and chime in on that topic as well. All right, other stuff on the website this morning. Whole lot of content out of football camp. Manny Diaz used multiple outlets to discuss pretty much everything going on with the team. We've got that story on the website. De'Ara King spoke in detail about how things are going for the offense and himself and how he's feeling, coming off the ACL surgery now that he's been through a couple weeks of camp. We've got that story as well. Former head coach Mark Richt made an appearance out at UM and really very candidly discussed a lot of different subjects. It was way more valuable than I expected. I mean, at first, I'm like, Mark Richt, what's he doing here? And he was here because ACC was doing All Access Miami yesterday. And so he came. He spent about 6 minutes with us inside the indoor practice facility that he played such a big role in building, and really had some interesting opinions on a lot of different things. We talked to him about what makes a successful quarterback. And the one thing that I thought was like, wow, I'm surprised he really said that, was how candid he was when he was talking about quarterbacks, about how things got really bad for him at Miami when his quarterback room got real immature. And he's right. I mean, that took down Miami football in that season that ended up being Mark Richt's last as a head coach. And now, of course, he's been beset by all kinds of physical problems over the last couple of years, had the heart issue, and now has the Parkinson's issue and stuff. So a lot of things that are going on in his life. You could kind of see the effects of that on, he's kind of wearing it, but seems to be doing okay. He's still functioning very well in his job with ACC Network. And again, he expanded on a lot of different subjects. So we'll let you, read that story. It's a good one to check out. And then I mentioned ACC All Access, Matt, and great opportunity for Miami last night to have that airtime on ACC Network and participate in a very entertaining ACC All Access show. You got to love seeing the program get that type of national exposure.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great seeing James Williams in a boot golfing, but other than that, everything else looked like the program. It's nice to get an inside look because, we get to watch practices here and there, but that really was them with the program for 2 straight weeks, going inside the meetings and, showing little clips of this and that. And you really get a sense of the team and what they're all about, which is great.
All right, so a lot for you guys to absorb on the website today. Thank you for joining us for another segment of Good Morning CaneSport. We'll be back at you tomorrow with, I'm sure, a whole new assortment of scintillating news as Miami wraps up its countdown towards the Alabama season opener in Atlanta, September 4th. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. We'll see you next time, everybody.